I put a post on Bill Katz Facebook page today. He missed his Father's Day just by a little over a week. I don't know if I told you the story. I think I did tell you the story that Bill did not think he was going to pass away when he got ill this time, even though he had acute leukemia, because of the fact that God had shown him that he was going to live till he was 67. And I thought 67 sounds pretty young, but if God wants you to go home at 67, then that should be good. And he was really happy with it. He was such a joyful man. And so when he was at the hospital, we prayed, and we knew he was going to rise up. Sam and I went up to him, and we were singing in the hospital, and it's hard to sing with one of those masks on, but Bill was elated, and those of you that didn't know him, he had an excellent voice and perfect pitch. He had a voice like an angel, and we always wanted to do a worship album together, and so we knew that he was just going to live because God had promised him. I believed him too, that he would live till 67. And so we just knew that at any time, either through the chemo or through the prayers or both, he would just rise up. And it didn't matter what the prognosis was. That's the great thing about God, is that it doesn't matter what the prognosis is. God supersedes anything and any type of even natural order of things. He supersedes science. He supersedes even his own natural laws he puts into effect. If he created gravity, he can also defy gravity. If he says that you're going to burn up if you get into a furnace, you're not going to burn up if he's with you. Amen. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And we know that those weren't fantasy stories. They're not stories that people just told, but they were actual historic happenings that took place, because God is God, and he's the only true God. So when he did succumb to the cancer, and he had so many blood transfusions, and even while we were there, he was, if anyone was ready to see Jesus, it was Bill. He was one of those people that was always looking at Jesus no matter what, and that's why he was so sparkly. Anyone who spends a lot of time looking at Jesus always has the countenance of the Lord, because they're always in his presence. And that's what I used to see about Pastor Chuck. He was always glowing. And it was because he was a man of prayer. He would wake up early in the morning. The first thing he did was seek God. And all the other things about our personalities. Sometimes we look at ourselves and we look at other people and we think, well, that person can't be that godly because I see a lot of flaws. The flaws have nothing to do with how godly you really are. Because godliness doesn't come from being perfect in all that you do. It comes from having faith in a holy God. If you have faith in a holy God, you can have all kinds of defects and you're still holy. And that's the beauty of it. And so Pastor Chuck and Bill, they were people that radiated with this incredible amount of light coming from their faces, because their faces were turned toward the Lord. So getting back to the 67 and what we thought was an error, because he did pass away. But then we were reminded afterwards that he passed away on June 7th, 6-7. And so we just got it wrong. God was going to take him home on June 7th, 2014. We thought it was 67 years. You can get little errors like that. And it's okay. So be praying for Tracy. Tracy is his wife, and she's just this wonderful, wonderful woman. Got to spend some time with her up there too, and took her out to eat and pray, and she's doing good. She's a strong saint, very faithful, and managed to put a website together to raise money to help support her in this transition. So everything, in my life in the last couple of weeks has dealt with death and sickness, and those of you that know anything about my Facebook page know that's what I deal with on a daily basis is sickness and death. Constantly, every day, is something new. But it doesn't really put me or anyone else that is called to this type of ministry into a place of darkness, because the answer is always to turn everyone back to the light. So I have to always be on my face. I was telling a friend that I don't think I would walk very well in the Lord if I wasn't in the ministry. Because if I wasn't in the ministry, I'd find all kinds of other things to do. But before I